From the IMTV Wave Channel 5 studio at Greenville Senior High School, home of the Greenville Green Wave, the Greenville Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library proudly presents Never Stop Serving.
Hi, I'm Matthew Kindley. I'm here representing the IMTV and Veterans Digital Library mission. I'm here with the author of Saluting Our Grandmothers, Cassie Barlow. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it. My name's Cassie Barlow, as you already mentioned, and I'm an Air Force veteran.
All right.
Served for 26 years in the Air Force all over the world, and thought it was the right time to highlight what women have done in our military. So actually the co-author of the book, Sue Norad, a friend of mine, approached me and asked if I'd be willing to author the book with her, and I heartily accepted, and here we are today with a book in print, and just very proud of where we were and where we've come from.
Okay, so kind of give us an idea, when did you initially get the idea for writing this, and how long did it take from the idea to actually being able to publish and having the book here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sue and I met probably 2 years ago when I was still, actually it was more like 3 years ago, when I was still active duty, and I was visiting her school. She was a teacher, and I visited her school when they were doing a fly day. They flew UAVs at her school. And just had an awesome time interacting with the kids and talking to the young women in the class, and it was the first time I had met her. So fast forward about a year after that, she showed up in my office after I'd already retired, and she was carrying this big portfolio, and walked into my office and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something," and started to take pictures out of the portfolio and show me pictures of her mother,
right,
who is our heroine,
here.
right, a heroine of our book, Pauline, and told me about her service as a wave in the Navy, and told me about how she had gone on an honor flight. She really enjoyed it, and she pulled out a book, and the book that she pulled out was called Saluting Our Grandpas.
Okay.
And she just pulled it out and she left it on the table, and she knew what I was going to do. I asked the question, well, where's Saluting Our Grandpas? And she said, well, I was hoping you were going to say that. And that really started the whole thing, where we used many of the pictures that she had from her mother's career,
right,
and did a lot more research, obviously, in creating the book. It wrote itself very quickly because it's history. So it was just a matter of putting our personal touch into the book and selecting a few other ladies to write about,
okay, so
that we could kind of round it out with a whack and a wasp and a wave, and we wrote about a Rosie as well,
yeah,
Rosie the Riveter. So it wrote itself very quickly, and Pelican was very interested because Pelican Publishing was the one that published Saluting Our Grandpas.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah, so when they heard we were doing this, of course, they were all over it. So the book, we wrote the book pretty quickly, within a year, getting feedback chapter by chapter from our publisher. So that's the story of how it started, and kind of exciting. And Sue was really, her mother had just passed when she came to see me. And Sue was really passionate about capturing her life. But then as we did research, we realized there's so many other women whose stories haven't been told. So we wanted to tell those stories as well. So that's where Saluting Our Grandmas came from.
Now you said there's Saluting Our Grandpas, and do the authors of that know about this now?
I'm sure they do. I don't know. We haven't talked with them, but I'm sure they do, just because we're published by the same publishing agency.
All right. In writing it and getting all this book completed, what was your favorite part? Do you have a favorite? A section that kind of stood out to you?
The favorite part for me was really the history of Dayton around the time of World War II. That generation, to say that generation lived, in a completely different time with a completely different culture is really an understatement. My mother and my father were of that generation. My dad served in World War II, and my mother grew up in the Depression and during the war, when it was everyone's responsibility responsibility to save and to plant victory gardens and to preserve things and to scrimp and save, as I call it. And so writing about that part of our history and recognizing specifically what was going on in Dayton and being able to use some pictures from the Dayton region was really my favorite part.
How did serving the Air Force kind of help you out here?
Yeah, I think, I think it was really about recognizing, whose shoulders we stand on, especially as women in the military, because there weren't many that went before us, but we really stand on their shoulders. They paved the ground for us, and really that appreciation helped write the book and helped me write the book. And I just was really, like I said, I'm very proud to be able to document the women that went before us, and they were just so proud to do what they did and to contribute to our national security and to our nation.
So you kind of mentioned, what are you working on right now? You said you're working on another book?
We are. One of the hopes of this book was to encourage young women to step outside of their comfort zone and to give back to their country and to go into the STEM fields. Well, this next book is a series of books, actually.
Oh, really?
Is going to be about a young woman and her grandfather who have some adventures around science, and so it's a little bit of Dayton in there again, around some of our historical landmarks in Dayton, and it's really focused on encouraging young ladies to go into STEM careers.
All right. Is that like another sort of 1940s, or is this is a little bit different?
No, it's a more recent.
Okay.
It's a more recent book, and the first title is Journey Through the Unified Field, if that gives you any idea of what it's about. So it's going to be fun, and a little bit of science fiction in there, but just a fun book for young ladies to read and to get excited about STEM.
Do you have an idea when it may be done, or is it still kind of just in rough production?
Yeah, it's in rough production.
Oh,
We're still working with the publisher to get it approved, but hopefully within the next year.
So when did this book officially publish? And
in May of this year was when it published, and we've already had multiple book signings, and it's available on Amazon now, at Barnes & Noble, and at the Air Force Museum, so it's readily available out there.
Right, I was about to ask, what kind of response have you had from that?
We've had a really good response. We've had a lot of people wanting us to come out and talk to their groups, and we're looking at a big presentation at a national social studies conference coming up, because what we really would like is to get it into schools, to be a book that middle schoolers can use as part of their history studies.
Are there any other words you'd like to say about the book, about a message out to women, or?
Just thank you for having us today. Here's the copy of the book and what it looks like. Very excited to be able to talk about the book today, and to continue to tell people that it's there, and do a little bit of advertising. And since today is Veterans Day, just want to shout out to all veterans. Thank you for your service, and thank you for what you've done for our country.
This about wraps it up, so thank you very much.
Thank you
for meeting me again. Cassie Barlow, here with her book, Saluting Our Grandmothers.
Thank you for watching. Please visit us on our social media sites. Please consider contributing to our mission in some way. Also, we are always looking for veterans and their families to share their stories with us. Be sure to join us next week for our next episode of Never Stop Serving.